Let's do some simple opportunity cost problems. The first way I'm going to show you is we are going to do it mathematically. Okay, so here we have two countries, France and England. So we want to know in which country is the opportunity cost of cloth lower. So remember, um, we talked about scarcities, and then since scarcity is very important in economics, so we have to take into account the idea of opportunity cost. So what it's saying here is for France, excuse me, um, the two numbers you notice the two maximum numbers, right? 600 units of wine and 300 units of cloth. For England, 200 units of wine and 300 units of cloth. What it's saying is France can spend all of its resources either to produce 600 units of wine and 0 unit of cloth, or France can spend all of its resources to produce no wine and 300 units of cloth. And the same thing can be applied to England. So there's an opportunity cost. Okay, so or France can decide to produce somewhere in between like 300 units of wine, and you go to this and around what 150 units of cloth, right? So that's gonna be a trade-off uh, between these two extreme points. And since we have a straight line, you know that the opportunity cost is going to be constant. That means it's going to be the same at any point on this line, okay, or this line. So to set up mathematically, let's write y w, okay, capital letter, and cloth, capital C. So here, when I set it up, France, what I put is 600 W's equal to 300 C's. What I'm saying is the resources are the same. Well, it can either be used to produce 600 units of wine or 300 units of cloth. So we set it up, guys, 600, 300 over here, 200, right, 300. And the first question we want to know, what is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of cloth? Since the question asks for cloth, we want to make it the C equal to 1. And how do we make the C equal to 1? By dividing both sides by 300. So 1C equal to 2 W's, right? So what it's saying here is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of cloth is 2 units of wine. That means for France, if it produces 1 unit of cloth, it has to give up 2 units of wine. Because remember, the same resources are now being used to produce cloth, right? Were used to produce wine before. Okay, now to produce cloth. So the resources that France used to produce 1 unit of cloth could have been used to produce 2 units of wine. To produce 1 unit of cloth, France has to give up 2 units of wine. For England, same thing. 200 W equals 300 C's, right? Since we want to make C equal to 1, divide both sides by 300. So 1C equal to 2 over 3, or 2/3 over 0.66, right? W. Um, the the opportunity cost of 1 unit of cloth is 2/3 or 0.66 unit of wine. The resources that England uses to produce 1 unit of cloth could have been used to produce 2/3 unit of wine. So to produce 1 unit of cloth, England has to give up 0.66 unit of wine. So obviously, you see here, England has a comparative advantage in producing cloth because it gives up only 0.66 unit of wine versus France, where it gives up 2 units of wine. Right, 2 units. So therefore, England is going to produce all 300 units of cloth. So now let's calculate the opportunity cost of producing 1 unit of wine. Since the question asks for wine, we want to make wine equal to 1. So or another way of saying it, we want to make the W equal to 1. So we set it up, right? The same setup like before. So now we are going to divide both sides by 600. So 1W equal to 1/2 C. Okay. So the opportunity cost of 1 unit of wine is 0.5 unit of cloth. The resources that France uses to produce 1 unit of wine could have been used to produce half unit of cloth. To produce 1 unit of wine, France has to give up 0.5 unit of cloth. England, same setup like before. So now we want to make the W equal to 1, so we divide both sides by 200. So 1W equal to 3/2 on 1.5. The opportunity cost of 1 unit of wine is 1.5 units of cloth. Okay. The resources that England uses to produce 1 unit of wine could have been used to produce 3/2 unit of cloth. To produce 1 unit of wine, England has to give up 3/2 or 1.5 units of cloth. So in this case, France has a comparative advantage in producing wine because it gives up 0.5 units of cloth versus England, it gives up 1.5 units of cloth. France is going to specialize in producing 600 units of wine. England specializes in producing 300 units of cloth. And then France trades some of its wine with England to obtain cloth and vice versa. Okay, so when dealing with the straight line, it's easy. Okay, so this is not difficult at all when we set it up. Just the two extreme points. So now let's move on to what happens when we have when we are dealing with increasing opportunity costs. So here we have two goods, guns and butter. So point A, 15 pounds of butter and no gun. B, 14 and 4 guns. C, 12 pounds of butter and 7 guns, and so on. Okay, so you have different points here, A, B, C, D, and E. So remember, all these points are efficient on the production possibilities curve, right? Because it's on the curve. So it depends, at which point that society wants. Maybe over here, society B wants more butter and less guns, but over here, society E wants more guns and less butter. Okay. So, and how do we calculate increasing opportunity cost? We know whenever the PPC is a curve, it has increasing opportunity cost. Okay, so different points, right? So I went over. Right? So if we're moving towards F, that means society wants more guns. and vice versa. If we move towards A, society wants more butter and less guns. Okay. As gun production increases, more resources are used to produce guns. Therefore, butter production decreases. Less resources available for the production of butter. What is the opportunity cost of one gun? The question asks for gun, so we make gun equal to 1. Okay, so moving from point A to point B, point A to point B, gun production increases by 4, right? 0 to 4. And butter production decreases by 1, 15 minus 14, right? From 15 going down to 14. Right, 15 down to 14 and 0 to 4. Okay. So we just like before, like we did with the England and France example, we set it up, right? So here, 4G equal to 1B. Since we want to make gun equal to 1, divide both sides by 4. So the opportunity cost of one gun from moving from A to B is 0.25 pound butter. Okay, that means for every gun that society produces, it only gives up 0.25 pound butter. Moving from B to C, gaining 3 guns, but losing 2 pounds of butter. Divide both sides by 3. 1 equal to 2/3. So here 2/3 is 0.66, right? So 0.5 here, 0.66. C to D, right? Gaining 2 guns, but losing 3 pounds of butter. C to D, right? 7 to 9, that's gaining 2 guns. And decreasing from 12 to 9 pounds of butter, okay? Losing 3 guns. Okay, so here the opportunity cost, divide both sides by 2. So 1G equal to 1.5 pounds of butter. And say this 0.66, 1.5, 2, and 5. So as you can see, these increases, okay, the opportunity cost increase. Okay, as society wants more to produce more guns, the opportunity cost of each gun increases. Society must give up more butter to produce more guns. So what if now the same question, what if we want to move it backward, right? Going from here, from F to A. So now society has many guns, but not enough butter. So it wants butter. So we're gonna go backward. We're starting with F, 12 guns and no butter. And E, that means the number of guns decreases from 12 to 11, but the pounds of butter increases from 0 to 5. As butter production increases, more resources are used to produce butter. Therefore, gun production decreases, less resources available for production of gun. Okay, so just like before, we're going to set it up, right? So here, losing 1 gun, gaining 5 pounds. So 1G equal to 5B. Divide both sides by 5. So that means 1B, because we are asking for what is the opportunity cost of 1 pound of butter. Okay, so we want to make it equal to 1. So 1B equal to 0.2 G. The opportunity cost of 1 pound of butter is 0.2 unit of gun. And moving from E to D, losing 2 guns, but gaining 4 pounds of butter, going from 11 to 9 and 5 to 9. So, right, 2G, gaining 4. So divide both sides by 4. So make it 1B equal to half 0.5 unit of gun. And then from D to C, losing another 2 guns and gaining 3. Okay, so losing 2 guns, getting 3 pounds of butter. Divide both sides by 3. So 1 pound of butter equals to 0.66 unit of gun. And going from C to B, losing 3 guns and getting 2 pounds of butter, 2 B's, right? 3 G's and 2 B's. So divide both sides by 2. Remember, you want to make the butter, the B equal to 1. So 1B equal to 3 over 2, which is 1.5. So you can see, start right. So first, from F to E, only 0.2 e to the 0.5, 0.66, 1.5, and 4. Okay, so as society wants to produce more butter, the opportunity cost of each pound of butter increases. Society must give up more guns to have more butter. Okay, so this is how you do it mathematically, whether you do it with the straight line or a curve, it doesn't matter. So the setup is very straightforward. Okay, it's not difficult at all. Now let's do it by slope. Okay, so by definition, slope equals to rise over run. Change in y divided by change in x, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Slope is the opportunity cost of the good on the x-axis. And 1 divided by slope is the opportunity cost of the good on the y-axis. So we're going to use the same example, France and England. So the opportunity cost here so what is the x and what is the good on the x-axis? Cloth, right? Cloth. So slope is the opportunity cost of the good on the x-axis. Okay, change in y divided by change in x. So we want to know what is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of cloth. Okay, that is the good on the x-axis. So for France, all you have to do, so here, well, technically when you do mathematically, it should be, when you do the calculation for slope, it should be negative. But for the purpose of economics, we just ignore the negative sign, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take the two extreme numbers, okay? Here's 600 and 300, okay? This is like a shortcut. So, and then the 0, so you take 600 minus 0 divided by 300 minus 0, which is equal to 2 units of y. Okay. So what it's saying for France, if it produces 1 unit of cloth, it has to give up 2 units of y. So that's like in the negative sign, right? Gives up. Right? And for England, right, the two extreme numbers are 200 and 300. So 200 minus 0 divided by 300 minus 0 equal to 2 over 3, 2/3, or another 0.66 unit of y. So England only gives up 0.66 unit of y to produce 1 unit of cloth, right? Kind of same numbers like when we did mathematically. So England has comparative advantage in producing cloth. Okay, and then you can kind of look from the graph, right? Since in this it has a flatter slope, right? So flatter slope means lower opportunity cost. Okay, for England, remember slope is the opportunity cost of the good on the x-axis. So PVC for England has flatter slope, which implies lower opportunity cost for cloth. What is the opportunity cost of 1 unit of y? So that's the good on the y-axis. Okay, right? Y is the good on the y-axis. So here we calculated 1 divided by slope, so 1 divided by 2, right, from the previous example, right? Part. So it's going to be half unit of cloth. So for France, it produces 1 unit of wine. It gives up 0.5 unit of cloth. And for England, 1 divided by 2/3, so which is the same as 3 over 2 units of cloth, 1.5. So for every unit of wine that England produces, it has to give up 1.5 units of cloth. So France specializes in producing all 16 units of wine. England specializes in producing all 300 units of cloth. France trades some of its wine with England to obtain cloth and vice versa. Okay. And then the second part of this slope is we can look when dealing with a a curve where we know that they have different slopes, different opportunity costs, right? Increasing opportunity costs, right? As we saw with the example of guns and butter. So here we have two goods, healthcare and education. Okay. So up here at point B, right, the slope is flatter, and at point D, the slope is much steeper. Okay. So once again, slope is the opportunity cost of the good on the x-axis, and the x-axis here, the good is what? Education. When dealing with a curve, drawing a tangent line, like in calculus, right, mathematically to find slope. Slope is flat at point B, right? It's flat, right? At this point, there's a lot more healthcare, right? Healthcare, right? A lot more, right? Higher, right? This is zero, right? So up here, higher, and zero here, education, and a lot less education, and not a lot of education, a lot less. Thus, there is a low opportunity cost to produce more education. Okay, but at point D, where society has a lot of education already, okay, and much less healthcare, right? Remember, this is zero. That's the starting point, right? A lot less healthcare, and a lot more education over here. Um, when the slope is steep at point D, this means there's high opportunity cost to produce more education. Society already has a lot of education. To produce even more education, it has to give up a lot more healthcare. A lot more healthcare. Um, so yeah, so looking at a curve, we can actually figure out the opportunity cost, and it's very easy since the opportunity cost of education is here is low, right? That means the opportunity cost of healthcare, that means one over slope, is going to be high. And whereas the opportunity cost of education here is high, right? Because the slope is steep. The opportunity cost of healthcare here is going to be low, right? Because one divided by high, that means it's going to be low. Okay. Um, so let's say vice versa. Opportunity cost of education here is low. Opportunity cost of healthcare is high. Opportunity cost of education here is high. Opportunity cost of healthcare is low. So let's do an example. So we have two different countries, Brazil and the US. So producing two goods, sugarcane or wheat, right? Well, it looks like the US has a flatter slope, right? So, and then over here, Brazil has a steeper slope. And remember, slope is the opportunity cost of producing the good on the x-axis. So wheat is the good on the x-axis. Slope is the opportunity cost of the good on the x-axis, which is wheat. The US PPC is flatter than the Brazil's PPC, or production possibilities curve, PPC. The opportunity cost of producing wheat is lower for the US. Conversely, the opportunity cost of producing sugar cane is lower for Brazil. Okay. Remember, if producing one good is lower, that means the other country produces the other good must have a lower opportunity cost. Thus, the US has comparative advantage in producing wheat. Brazil has comparative advantage in producing sugar cane. Then both countries trade. Okay. So that is our opportunity cost. So I hope this little short tutorial is going to help all of you. Okay, thank you. Thank you for watching.